Yeah, so that happened. Hey there, welcome to the garage. After last week's video, there was a ton of feedbacks and really good suggestions on things that I could have, should have done better differently for mounting the D-rings. There were four repeating variations of suggestions. One suggestion that came up a few times was to mount the D-rings to a plate and then mount that plate to the trailer rather than trying to mount the D-rings directly to the trailer. I picked up a piece of 24-inch by 6-inch quarter-inch plate to cut those out of. As I marked that plate up and started cutting on it, I really realized that while my cutoff wheel works pretty well, it takes a minute to cut through 1/4 inch, and I really wish I had a plasma cutter. The second suggestion was, instead of just mounting a square, to actually mount it on an angle so that there were no horizontal or vertical welds. I guess those break easier. I don't know. It seemed to make sense to me. So that's what I went with. So one of the hold downs for the D-rings that I got wasn't, it was a little suspect. You can see how it's not bent evenly. It was a little cattywampus. So I decided to use that one as a practice piece on a smaller piece of practice plate, just to get my root pass right. It actually took quite a bit of prep to get that to where I could weld it. It was really janky. As I started welding on, or got ready to weld on this, I did decide to go with 6011 because the third suggestion that came up repeatedly was I can't use 6010. These small inverter welders, they just don't run 6010. I mean, it'll kind of try, but it just doesn't do very good. 6011 definitely ran better. On the practice piece, this guy here, I ran on one side. I ran the 1/8 inch 6011 for a root pass. I think I ran that at about 100 amps. And then I ran on the other side 1/8 inch 7018 for a root pass. I like the 7018 root better. I'm more comfortable with it. The 1/8 inch was a little big for a root, so I ended up, when I did the regular pieces, I used the 332nd 7018 for a root, and that seemed to work a whole lot better. You can see that I got better heat penetration on the 7018. Still not great for this practice piece than I did on the 6011. So I think more of that was me than the rod. I think a good welder could get good heat penetration with either one. So for the actual pieces that I welded, I did go with a 332 or 332nd 7018 on the root, and I laid them flat to get that root to give me a better working angle, to really make sure that I could see and could get the root in there as deep as I'm skilled, or as well as I'm skilled to do. Which leads me to the fourth suggestion that came up a few times, was to grind that root. And I've seen other videos, I've seen people do this, and it makes sense. You lay that root in there and then you grind it just enough so that you can have a nice smooth, even surface to run the fill weld after that. So I ran 1/8 inch 7018 at for the fill pass. I ran it at 115 amps. And that seemed to be right. Maybe could have gone a little hotter, but I think it was okay. Tacking with 7018, a little bit of a pain. I probably should have used the 6011 to tack with, but I tried to use the 7018, which was fine. I just had to kept having to file the tip in order to get the tack to go. It fought me a little bit, not gonna lie. So I welded all of these going uphill, starting at the bottom and going up. I don't know if 7018, if I really should be welding downhill. Maybe on the next one I'll try to weld downhill and see if that works better. The overhead, slightly overhead, those bottom angles, they still fought me just a little bit. Not quite as bad as a completely horizontal overhead, but they still fussed with me a little bit. So I kind of cleaned those up, that first fillet weld, and then ran a second pass on the bottom just to make sure that I had what I felt like was a strong weld. All of your comments from last week, some really good stuff, and I took it to heart. And I really do like mounting the D-rings to the plate first and then mounting that plate to the trailer. One, it lets me mount the D-ring and a little, I can sit here at the bench and a little bit more comfortable to get that on, and then welding those fillet welds on the plate. It's just easier, and I feel like it's a stronger weld. So of course I did go back and add some high tensile strength spray paint just to make sure that it's as strong as possible. All in all, a little bit more pleased with the D-ring mount this week. I only did the one. I didn't want to bother you guys with just watching me weld a whole bunch of those, I'll go and do the rest of them because I think Plan B worked. Your comments are always welcome, and I appreciate it. And I thank you guys for watching, and I hope this was a little bit fun and informative as always. So you guys have a great weekend, great August, and I'll see you later.